Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking a look at War Against All, the latest record from Immortal. It was released just this last weekend and they did a full live stream of the record in its entirety, which is still up on YouTube, so you can just go and listen to the entire record on YouTube, which is very kind of them. So the way this typically works is, I've had a listen to the record already, so it's not like a live reaction or anything like that. It's more just my thoughts and feelings, and just kind of looking to share with other people in the black metal community. I don't have a lot of friends locally that are into black metal. My closest friends who are really into black metal are like 17,000 miles away. So it's really just talking about it. Yeah, so if you got something to say in the comments, some thoughts you want to leave, please do, because I'd really be interested to hear what you make of the new record. So let's start with the title track, War Against All, which is the first track on the record. So first thoughts on the opening track is, it's a really strong track to open with. It's really energetic. It has a lot of pace. It has a lot of momentum in the sound. Initial thoughts on the production style. I quite like it. It's not as hi-fi as, say, something like Sons of Northern Darkness. However, it is fundamentally a good mix, so there's good balance in the mix, and they sort of have found a way to saturate the mix in such a way that it kind of gives that old school, kind of more lo-fi black metal spin on it, but without actually compromising the fundamental basic quality of the mix, if that makes sense. So I quite like what they've done with that. The title track itself, there's some really, really cool drum movements, some really cool, like I said, there's some cool grooves, and the main riff, the main kind of refrain, has that typical signature Immortal sound, and there's an epicness to it that I really quite enjoy. So let's go ahead and take a listen to the second track, which is called Thunders of Darkness. So Thunders of Darkness, really enjoying, again, there's continued momentum from the first track, so that's really cool. So it kind of keeps the pace up. There's a lot of metal records, I think, where they open with a really, really kick-ass track, and then the second track always loses some sort of sense of energy and momentum. and that doesn't happen with this. This has that real cool signature Immortal chaotic kind of vibe to it. There's sort of it's like in my books, there's like two sort of signature key sounds that they deliver really well. One is like that Arctic frostbitten kind of vibe, particularly when they use like when they use the clean tones and stuff like that. It's really evident, but it also happens with the disorder tones. But then there's also this like real chaotic kind of sound. It's like I don't know. It's like rushing through a level, or like a really really nerve-wracking level on Doom. That and you're just running around grabbing ammo, just trying to stay alive. That's kind of what I like in this track too. So let's move on to War God. Now I know some comparisons have been made to previous Immortal tracks with War God, but I think it's only really the kind of intro section for me. It does sound a little bit overly familiar, but it very quickly goes into its own beat, and yeah, I don't find it to be like a retread or anything like that. So. What's really interesting is that like middle section of the track where it comes out of the clean part, where again, like I said, you get that kind of Arctic frostbitten kind of, I don't know, sound of the tundra. When we come out of that, there's this interesting riff, and I really like it, but it actually is very familiar sounding, and I realize where I've heard it before. It's not the same, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they've copied it or anything like that, but it's very very similar to Passchendaele by Iron Maiden, and I really really like that song, so I don't really have a problem with hearing a spin off of that riff as such. Like I said, I'm not insinuating they've done it intentionally or anything like that, but I think it's a really really cool section, and it really breaks up the song really nicely. So it's a little bit trudgy in the first couple, like the verse, chorus, main kind of sections, the main body. But once it goes into that bridge section, the end of the song I feel is really strong the way it kind of picks up. So let's move on to No Sun. So with No Sun, it's very much the kind of DNA. A lot of the DNA of Immortal is like really evident in this. So you've got the that kind of beat structure with the arpeggiated notes at the end, at the tail of that riff, and the cool kind of inversions that Demonaz favors. I've always said that I really like the kind of chord inversions that he uses. It generates a lot of atmosphere with his guitar playing, and there's always something a little different about how he handles it, but it's always intrinsically immortal, if that makes sense. But there's also a real epicness to this track, which I really like. You always feel like you're going on a journey, like a physical journey, when you listen to an Immortal record. Like, you feel like you are literally trudging through the snow with them. Like in an Arctic blizzard, like having your face blown off by like ice crystals or something like that. Alright, let's have a listen to the next one. It's called Return to the Cold. So again, this track sounds like you're going on a real epic journey somewhere, and it almost makes it sound like you're facing challenges, like you're facing adversaries that you need to overcome or something like that. I don't know how he does it in his riff writing, but it is this real epic sense of like being on some sort of quest or being in a battle or something like that. He really does embody those sort of elements in his writing, Demonaz I'm talking about. Highlight for me is that kind of middle section with the drums. What I really love about it is that the production, like I said earlier, although it's a really balanced mix and there's a lot of power and all the right frequencies are there, you don't get the sense it's kind of overproduced. And I think that's quite important with this brand of black metal, that they could have been easily tempted to have a big reverb on that snare, or some sort of delay or something, and like have it ring a bit more. But they didn't need to. The performance and the arrangement does it for itself. There's no need to compromise the DNA of the sound of the band just to make that work. Whereas I think for a lot of artists, you'd be tempted to use all the toys, so to speak. Now, I think we're going to go and skip ahead to Nordlandir, which is an instrumental, I believe, if I remember right from listening last night. I'm probably going to leave it there. I won't go through all the tracks, but this is my favorite track on the record. And not to say I don't like the vocals. I really like the vocal performances. And I don't really miss Aveth at all, I've got to be honest. But this track was a highlight for me on first listen. So yeah, this instrumental, I think it's really, really quite impressive. There's a lot of emotive content going on, and there's some kind of intricate interplay between the distorted guitars and the kind of clean, semi-clean, arpeggiated movements that are going on with the other track of guitar work. There's also some real, like, delicate control from Demonaz in terms of his attack on the notes, which I found really, really impressive. And I don't really recall ever hearing someone play so delicately on something in the context of black metal. And yet here it is, and I think it works superbly well. You know, because it's not like he's not playing like some sort of soppy passage. Does that make sense? He's still playing immortal music, but it just has this delicate touch. And there's a really nice lead in this. And I'll play that separately here because it's worth focusing on. Anyway, so this lead, it has a great tone, and you'd be tempted again to make that quite loud in the mix if you were to follow convention, but it just doesn't need it. You know, they're able to stick really within their own sound, and just the quality and the execution again of the performances, the fundamental tones that have been captured, and all those kinds of things mean that there's no real extra production necessary to bring that through. It cuts through just fine, and it's actually a lovely, really, really nice bit of playing from Demonaz. And I know he's a good player. I've always known he's a good player, and he's a good lead player. But you know, this is, for me, it's just a great example, a really well captured example, and well executed example of what he's capable of in terms of emotive capability. Anyways, look, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. I really, really enjoyed the entire record when I listened to it on the first go last night, and yeah, I'll definitely be buying this one. But let me know what you think in the comments. You know, I think it's really kick-ass. And also, you know, aside from this, are there any other albums that you'd be recommending to me that I should check out? So do let me know in the comments. But until next time, I got to head off. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.